Oh no, why do they bother? You might have heard of a site called Wish. It has some incredible value things, but it also kind of looks a bit like a scam. So today we're gonna head onto the smartphone section and see what we can find. Wow, okay. This is Clone City. So we've got Mate 30. Look at those bezels. I don't think we've actually seen a real phone come out with those bezels. The images actually look pretty legit, but I think the problem is that the real thing won't, because it's saying it is £77 and you're getting a full HD display, a 4800 mAh battery, which is even bigger than the actual Mate 30, and a 13 plus 24 megapixel camera. I doubt it, but we're gonna have to try. So we'll add that to our basket. Oh look, so here we have the S91, and it is £29. That's nuts. Yeah, I guess we should just try it. We'll go for black. What else? Oh, we've got iPhones. Oh look, the i11 Pro, that's a bargain. Let's go for white. And it's so funny how they basically take real phone numbers and then dial them up to make them look better. So this isn't the S10 or the S11, you're looking at the S18 Plus phone. Sure, why not? Oh, and of course, it's not just the Mate 30 we've got to worry about. We've got a Mate 35, which in reality is not actually a phone that exists, so this will be interesting. Let's go red. Let's just look at the names for a second. So we've got the Huawei P41 Pro here, the Mate 33 Pro. We've got, of course, the i11 Pro. Can't forget that one. And, oh, a Mate 36 Pro. Oh, and actually this is interesting. So if you look at the top corner, it tells you there is a 97% discount on these phones. And if that was true, then the retail price of this fake would be £2,505, which is higher than the real one. Oh my goodness. So this one is not a Reno, this is a Rhino. It's £29, that's crazy. I'm curious how good they can make a phone for that. Is it even a smartphone? Okay, and there's also some fairly legit looking iPhones, so I think we should try one of those too and just see how close they've managed to get. Okay, these specs cannot be true. Not a chance. But then how do they get away with straight up lying? I'm confused why a site like this exists in 2020. I do also at this point want to thank Surfshark VPN for making this possible, because this is not something I could do without them. I want to see if I can find a phone which has a real hole punch in it, because with fake phones, because it's much cheaper, what they often do when they're trying to copy phones that have hole punches is just create a notch. Hole punch phone. Ooh, okay. Note 10 Pro. And you can tell that's not real because there's no such phone as the Note 10 Pro. But it looks convincing, and if they manage to pull off what they're showing in that photo for £101, that's actually impressive. So let's give it a go. And the other thing I thought I'd try is to just find the cheapest smartphone. Like, how cheap can it actually go? We've got lots of 27s, lots of 29s. Okay, we might just have a winner then. It's looking like this phone over here, £23. What are we getting? Probably not a whole lot. If it even works, I'll be quite impressed, to be honest. Okay, let's buy that. And then for our phones, we need a couple of accessories. So let's have a look. Speaker. Oh man, it's full of knockoffs. Let's go with this one. Okay, so £11, we get pretty nice looking speaker. Blue? Okay, £17. And we could pick up some earphones. Oh wow, okay. They really don't look bad. And then of course, one of the first things you see is AirPod clones. And this is something I've always been curious about because I've not really played around with many of them. Okay, we can pick colors. Let's just go with white and £8. Let's see how good it can possibly be. Last of all, I wanted to have a look at power banks. Okay, so this power bank has a capacity of 990,000 milliamp hours. That's got to be a joke. So this one says capacity of 1,000,000 milliamp hours. It's like you're trying to power some sort of nuclear generator. It gets worse. Wait, this one's 10 million. So when you click select size, you can click 100 milliamp hours, 9 million milliamp hours, 10 million milliamp hours, or 20 million. Okay, you know what? Let's go 20 million and let's go black and red. £14. Bargain. Don't know what's going to turn up at my door. It's not going to be a 20 million milliamp hour battery. It'd be the size of an airplane. Oh god, I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest. It's almost like they think it's a joke. Just for the sake of it, let's just order one more of these ridiculous power banks. Okay, let's go for gold. Why not? £16. Buy. I just don't get it. You know, let's just try it and see what happens. It's also interesting when you're filtering by price for these smartphones that the absolute top price bracket here is £77 plus, as if that's about as expensive as phones get. And to be fair, on this site, they're about right, but it's just curious. Oh, I mean, they look fantastic. Let's give those a go as well while we're at it. It's interesting that it says they're refurbished. I'm assuming that means the packaging it comes in is not convincing enough to count as new. So we've got 15 items in our cart, and the total that comes to is £782.20. So I'm gonna check out on that, probably wait for about a month for it all to arrive, if it ever does, and then we'll see what we're working with.
One eternity later.
Okay, so probably the most surprising thing is that everything actually arrived. Apart from that M20 Pro phone, that ultra cheap one, but I still got refunded. So we're going to start with the accessories and then we'll get on to the phones. Alright, so we will start with the Beats by Dr. Dre. Any hope of this being a genuine item is now gone. It's a little bit more than just refurbished by the looks of it as well. Okay, it actually doesn't look bad. Do you know what? The logo, the paint job, it's better than I thought it would be. The cushioning's a bit flat. Okay, let's give it a go. And I don't have a headphone jack. Thank you. Pretty budget experience so far. It's pretty bassy. No, actually, you know what, that's pretty good. I wouldn't say there's a lot of clarity, but it's about as good as you'd expect $15, $20, maybe even $30 headphones to sound. And actually, while we've got the laptop, we've also got a pair of earphones. These are the £1 earphones. There is a bit of a shipping cost involved as well, but incredibly cheap earphones. Okay, first impression, they look cool, but they do feel incredibly cheap. Let's try it. I remember how the website was talking all about how this is a dual driver pair of earphones. Yeah, I doubt all of it. Okay, they're not great, but they're serviceable earphones for the £1 or £4 in total I spent on them. Very bass heavy, the kind of sound signature that you get with cheap earphones. Here's one I'm very curious about. So these are the incredibly inexpensive AirPods. The first impression is that it actually doesn't look bad. This magnetic mechanism here, the hinge, is a little bit loose. Like if it's open and you give it a wobble, it closes. But you know what? It's... But you know what? I'm not unimpressed. Oh, yeah. Okay, so auto pairing. These instructions are cryptic. Something I'm really curious about is this speaker. It looks actually really, really good. Take that wrapper off. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I think, at least visually, you could probably fool someone into thinking this costed $60. It's also completely sealed by the looks of it, so I think there's a good chance it could survive a drop in water.
I wouldn't try that.
Yeah, I would not test that. It's come up as the Charge 3. Oh. Ugh. Okay, it's not great. It gives the impression that it's some sort of 360 surround speaker, maybe even with the bass coming out of here, these potential subwoofers, but it's not. There's some sort of small unit sitting in the front, and it just fires forwards. A bit upset about that one. Now for the batteries. And yeah, they've airbagged it up, as you would, for a 20 million milliamp hour cell. It's tiny, so I'm already convinced that this is not more than about 10,000 milliamp hours. Two immediate observations. It feels kind of cheap, I guess, as you'd expect. There's a bit of creaking in the plastic. But it's also not nearly as heavy as it should be. This is almost definitely at least a third hollow. That doesn't leave me incredibly hopeful for this next one, but we'll take a look anyway. Oh, okay. Completely different style of battery. This one's much slimmer and actually quite a bit nicer looking. Although that finish is hardly reassuring. It kind of looks like this top bit has just kind of been super glued onto the bottom bit 5 minutes before leaving the factory. The weight again though definitely makes me question the capacity. Okay, time for the smartphones. I've been slightly nervous, mostly excited about doing this, and because there's so many, I think the best way of doing it is for me to just kind of lay them all out and do it at once. And it is actually quite interesting, almost like there's some sort of coordination going on at Wish, because they all come in very similar, strange, plain white boxes. Oh, and this one's refurbished. So I think it makes sense to open them in price order. We'll start with the cheapest and work our way up to the most expensive. Alright, let's start. So this is the S91, many years ahead of its time. Okay, it actually kind of looks like a Galaxy S9. It's got a dual camera setup, but weirdly a matte finish. It's not actually as bad looking as I thought it would be. We'll come back to it. Who doesn't love a good Rhino 3? It's a bigger phone. I'm curious how well they've replicated the Oppo Reno's design, because design was a big part of those phones' selling points. Ooh, that's better than I expected. Have a look at the back of that. Oh, actually, it doesn't look as good without the wrapper on. Okay, i11 Pro. This is the cheaper i11 Pro. Ooh, that almost looks like a Google Pixel. Really tiny little camera module in the top corner, and on the back, instead of saying Apple, it actually just says HD camera. Still a pretty good peel though. Okay, I'm very excited about this one. This is the completely unreleased Huawei Mate 35. What an honor. Oh, we got a bit of color going on here. Oh my god, okay, this is exciting. Look at the back of this. Let's, or not. Let's try a different corner. Okay, alright, I'll do that later. It's a feature. That actually feels like a glass finish, which I wasn't expecting. Mate 30. Oh, that's a heavy phone. That's the heaviest so far. I'm curious to see how well they've replicated it, because the design of the Mate 30 was pretty out there. It was a different design to most smartphones, so not easy to just make a generic fake of. Ooh, quite well. Take a look at that. That's not a shabby looking fake phone at all. Okay, where are we at now? So this is the more expensive And this is the more expensive i11 Pro. It takes a punch hole to a new meaning. Okay, so we've got emerald green here. Very clean looking back, although that feels a bit plasticky. The module isn't quite right either. There's a little bit too much space between the cameras, but it's better than the first one. Aha, the Galaxy S18 Plus. Ooh, 5G as well. Okay, this is exciting. 8 gigs RAM, 512 gigs of storage, all the bells and whistles. Okay, that is a Galaxy S10 Plus. So in the future, it looks like Samsung's actually going to move backwards and start remaking their old phone. Oh, plus a rear fingerprint scanner. Funnily enough, on the front it has the in-display fingerprint scanner sticker, but I don't think it's going to work. And finally, it's a bit of a shame, I was actually kind of enjoying this. We have the Note 10 Pro. And the reason I think this is the most expensive is that, at least I think, they've managed to recreate an actual hole punch, which I've never seen before on a clone fake phone. So let's see how they've done it. Oh, nice. Okay, so to start with, the finish, they've actually kind of managed to recreate it. The Note 10 and Note 10 Plus, they had this crazy psychedelic aura glow color. I didn't think the fake would actually have that. And it does look like we have a hole punch, although we will have to turn the display on first to actually check it. Plus the S Pen, which I'm pretty curious about. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take 30 minutes, set all these phones up, and then tell you what I think.
Much later.
Okay, I suppose the most curious one is going to be the iPhone, because iOS is incredibly hard to replicate convincingly. Ooh, that is something. We'll get back to that. Let's power this one on. This is the Huawei Mate 35. Goodbye. Goodbye. And literally, like, the welcome screen looks like you're walking into Jurassic Park for the first time. It's just so incredibly off-brand. Let's see if the Mate 30 is any better. I think this is the back of the phone that I'm most impressed by. Huawei's design was not easy to recreate here, but it does actually look good. Ah, just S18 Plus. I tell you, one thing this has inherited from Samsung's Galaxy S10 lineup is the incredibly high power key. I remember thinking that, you know, while you're holding the phone in your hand, that is a stretch to get to. How does this have the... And we actually have a hole punch display. Admittedly, there's a few dead pixels around. Alright, so everything's set up now, and this varies from being absolutely appalled to actually being quite impressed. So, let's start with the Samsung. Display has incredibly bad viewing angles. Let's take a look at the cameras. How good can a camera on a phone this cheap be? Don't think there's any HDR here. God. And in terms of the image we were sold on, yeah, it's fair to say I've been fairly misled. The bezels are much thicker in reality, and those dual cameras are not dual cameras. Okay, moving on to the Rhino. Again, terrible viewing angles. Like, if you tilt this more than about 60 degrees, you're going to struggle to read what's on it. But what I want to test is the cameras. Okay, no, it's exactly the same as the camera app for the last phone. But yeah, this is not a periscope camera, in case there was any doubt at all. And compared to this image, I've been very misled. The bezels are nothing like what they were on the page, and yeah, all of this is definitely a lie. Okay, the cheaper looking iPhone. And actually, while this looks pretty unconvincing from the back, it's not terrible from the front. Everything is a little bit more spaced out than it should be. You can tell it's not iOS, but they've done at least a semi-decent job. So compared to that image, the specs are obviously not right. It doesn't have a 10-core chipset, but in terms of the way it looks, they weren't actually that far off. I'd actually go as far to say that the back of the phone I've actually got looks better than the back of the phone on the image. This one's really interesting. So this is the Huawei phone, and they have fully recreated, admittedly an older version of Huawei's MUI software. It's not a bad job software-wise. Let's take a look at the cameras. Oh, and we've actually got a Huawei-style camera app as well. Oh yeah, and that's definitely a better camera than the phones before. Compared to that image, yes, I've been misled, obviously. The side bezels here are thicker, the bottom bezel is much thicker, but the back is actually, again, one of these cases where I'd say it looks better in person than it does on the image. So this is kind of cool. The next phone, the Huawei Mate 30, has the Huawei Mate 30 wallpaper pre-installed on it, and software-wise it looks like the exact same skin as this one. And as expected, the camera is the same. Okay, it does actually have a blur mode, so if I put my hand there, oh, right, okay. It's just blurring all the way around the sides of the image. Never mind. I just like the fact that they have actually delivered on the image in terms of the way the phone looks. This is quite a beautiful phone, and if I received this in a shop with better internals and a better screen and without the lies, I think I'd be quite happy. iPhone, and this software is just appalling. I don't know how they've managed to take a step backwards from the cheaper one. Oh, there's an app to do with the fingerprint. Touchscreen fingerprint? No, surely not. It's giving me the indicator to start setting up an in-screen fingerprint. Is that working? Surely.
There's only one way to test.
Yeah, there's only one. I've supposedly set my entire fingerprint up, so let's turn the screen off. It's got a little indicator there. Okay, well, Joe. And that works too. Why do they bother?
Resistance.
It made me set my entire fingerprint up. Oh, what a mess. Okay. You see, this I didn't hate. This is the S18 Plus. This does look quite convincingly like Samsung's most recent software skin. Ooh, that's a Bixby button. And it takes you to a fake Bixby. Oh no, the real one's bad enough. So yeah, if you flick to the side, they've recreated Samsung's entire side screen. 10 out of 10 for effort. And finally, this is a curious case. First of all, it just looks like a bit of a joke. The way they've kind of rounded off all the bezels, and how the hole punch has this massive, thick black border around it. But the software is Note 10 software, as far as the eye can see. Obviously it's fake, but it's a convincing fake. Let's try the S Pen. Ow. Okay, so to be fair to this listing, it doesn't appear to actually show an S Pen. Okay, so maybe I walked myself into that one. Okay, let's try this front camera. If this works, it does mean working hole punch. Yeah, it does. It's not great, but it's not bad. Well, no, it is quite bad, actually. This gives me such an appreciation for actually good phones. Alright, so this has been weird, but I've actually had a lot of fun here. Now, I can't wholeheartedly say you should go on to Wish and buy this stuff. The whole operation is just incredibly dodgy and I don't really know how it works. But as far as an experiment goes, interesting results. Okay, about a year ago, Surfshark VPN contacted me and asked if I wanted to partner up with them. And I distinctly remember thinking, I haven't heard of Surfshark, but sure, let me give it a test and see if I like it. And I did. It does everything you need a VPN to do, like give you that peace of mind that your browsing is secure and anonymous. Also, I'd be traveling around the world for launch events, and I'd be using it to access UK Netflix while I'm sitting in China, for example. So okay, fine, it's a VPN, it works. But now that I've been using it for almost a full year, it's becoming pretty clear that a lot, not all, but a lot of VPNs out there are borderline daylight robbery. They'll charge you $20, $30 per person per month for VPN access. But Surfshark is $1.99 a month for an unlimited amount of simultaneous connections. And there are some unique things too. You've got HackLock, which is a feature designed to give you alerts if your password or email ever got compromised. And that just ensures that the first person to take action is you. And I like that using the Surfshark app on my MacBook, I can tap once in the bar at the top and quickly connect to the last server I was connected to. So check the link in the description and use code BOSS to get an 83% discount and an extra month for free. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.